So we will continue with the Italian filmmaker presentation. A presentation is a kind of speech, a pitch, with but more relaxed and formal. We hope, in a sense, more barefoot, as we like to say it. And Giovanni will announce the every speaker of this presentation, starting by our Andrea Laudante,
Do
that
I?
is that is just here, and if you want to join us.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me. I'm Andrea Ladante. I'm a composer from Naples. I've been I've been trained in traditional composition and I studied electroacoustic and acousmatic music. So in the last years, I had the opportunity to release some records solo and share it with other projects. And I work as a film composer for shorts and documentaries. So today I'm here as a co-author of Battlefield. I realized this short movie with video editor and filmmaker Silvia Biagioni that now is not here. But we realized this work during an art residency in Rome at the AMOD, that is the Audiovisual Archive of Working Class Movement. We spend a lot of time in this archive viewing the materials and studying the materials from the archive. And Battlefield is a work that tries to be in balance between the borders of documentary and experimentation and experimental movies. Battlefield is a dialogue between images and sounds, and is a sort of journey in through the image of woman, the different representation of femininity in the archive during the 16th and the 17th. All the movie is a sort of a tribute to all the second wave, the second feminist wave, and the movie is the narration line is led by the concept of loops, both in images and sounds. And this is the first time for me to have the occasion of work in a project where sound is central and has the same value on of the images. And as a composer, I always been fascinated by the idea of loops and repetition. And now my main research and my current project is based on this idea of cycle and repetition. And I'm focused on two main topics that are two fundamental features that are present in every aspect of life, that are repetition and randomness. So now I'm working on a series of composition that explore these two aspects, that are the idea of cycle and the idea of randomness. And now this project is called Perception of Prakriti. That is the like the box of this series that contain this series of composition. And now one of these work this year has been awarded the first prize of GRM the cover contest, and I will present one of these pieces next year in Paris at GRM Acousmonium. That is one of the most important Acousmonium, also because it's the birthplace of concrete music. And I'm looking for someone who's interested in working in a project like Battlefield. I mean, in a project where images and sound have the same values, and someone who's interested in a project, in this kind of project. So, if anyone have this kind of interest, maybe we can have a talk. I don't know. So thank you for your time, and enjoy the festival.
Thank you, Andrea. Just let me remind you that all the Italian filmmakers are also available for the one-to-one meetings. So if you wanna to arrange a meeting with them, just let me know. Thank you. Okay. We'll keep going with Giulio Gobetti. Here we go. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. My name is Giulio Gobetti. I'm an Italian filmmaker, but I live in the United Kingdom, and my formation, like my academic formation, is as a political scientist. But I landed onto non-fiction 7 or 8 years ago, and I'm here presenting a film that is called 652 miles equals 0, or the wonderful convenience of video calling, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it's a film that was conceived during the pandemic, and it's a film that deals with the idea with the concept of space. So how space has been, in a way, reconstructed and contracted during the time of the pandemic, because during the lockdown, I was 652 miles away from the house of my grandmother, in this case. But for her, that was locked down in their house. The distance was pretty much the same between me and their neighbor, that is my dad. So the idea was to explore this reconstruction of time through teaching her how to use the video call, something that was completely foreign to her and that she had never had experience before. So the film is a quest of me trying to teach her how to do a video call. And this, even though it's a film that was born during the pandemic, it's a film that fits in with my artistic research, which is usually connected to place, and part for my experience of migration. I'm always looking at places and the way we perceive places, and the way places gain a meaning because of the people that inhabits them. So now I'm working on a feature documentary project. It's a film called End of Season, Fine Stagione. And it's a film that I'm working on with my grandmother on the other side of the family, so I'm jumping on the on the other side. And it's about a place where my grandmother has been going for the last since the 70s on holiday every summer. She spends 3 months there, and it's a tiny town on Riviera Romagnola, which is on the eastern coast of Italy. And it's a town that now used to be at the center of the universe. Everyone used to go to the Riviera Romagnola, and now the tourists that are still going are the same they used to go in the 70s. So everyone is in their 80s, like at the end of the season in a way. And so on the surface, it looks like a place full of elderly people and nothing more. But when you look closely, in reality, it's a place that it's populated. But this, hidden in plain sight, there's a big population of migrant workers that also help the industry stay alive. So my idea is to look at a place like this that has a bit of a surreal idea, is a place that doesn't exist in the winter, exists only in the summer, by virtue of all these people meeting here that don't really have a connection to the place, and so the idea is to observe what is the identity of the place through the tourists that are going there and through the people that are going there to work. This project is now in development, so I'm looking for a producer that is interested in joining me in this journey. And yeah, that's me, if anyone wants to have a chat about non-fiction or the film. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Giulio.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. I'm now calling on stage Roberto Akenza. Here we go. Applauso, Roberto. Please.
Hello everyone, thanks for having me. When Alessandro asked me to do this presentation, I think, okay, cool. Then he says, in English only, I think, oh shit. Yeah, sorry for French, because my English is very bad. Maybe Matteo Renzi is bad. So I write everything down. I read very slowly, so get comfy. I'm Roberto Akenza, and I'm a filmmaker from Sassari, a small town in North Sardinia. Since I was a child, I've always loved cinema, and I watch a lot of movies, so I could study and understand the cinematographic language. Not English, of course. I can say I'm self-taught because I can afford to go to a film school. And in high school, I studied architecture, but the cinemas was always what I wanted to do. So over the years, I've attended some courses and masterclass about cinema. And I work on music video, short film, and feature film. So I held various roles from directing or camera operating, even script supervising. So I could see various movie sets, and I knew many people and learned from each and every one of them. I'm here at Lago Film Fest to present myself and my short film Un piano perfetto, a perfect plan, and it's a buddy movie, and it's the story of Brunetto and Efisio, two close friends that live in Sassari. They want to shake up their lives and improve their financial situation, so they decide to rob a coffee bar. In this short movie, I described with comedy my city and its lost souls, and in other words, people who live in on the fringes of society, and who try in every way, even the most desperate, to affirm their existence. In this day, I'm working on the first draft of the script that I would like to become my first feature, titled Summer Odyssey. So the next step is definitely looking for a producer. And it's the story of Antonio, an introverted and shy 16-year-old boy who try to find his place in the world. The movie is set on the summer of 2001, when the world is on the eve of a turning point. And Antonio will try to change himself and will succeed only through self-destruction. And set in a ruined seaside resort in northern Sardinia, the film explores the drama of a boy who desperately seeks love and acceptance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Roberto. So once again, if you want to know more about Roberto's story, you can book a meeting with him to talk about his screenplay, hopefully in Italian if Roberto wants. And but now it's time for Sofia Negri. There we go. Please.
Hi everyone, I am Sofia and I am an animator. I come from very close by the sea, and I formed myself as an animator in London. So I left Italy after school, and it's been 5 years now. So I really miss this area. I really miss Italy, but work is there now. So since a very young age, I've never really thought of animation as a career because I've been a dancer and a drawer mainly, and I've always looked for something after school that would combine them to make them as my main interest to pursue. And then someone told me, oh, you can study animation, you know, in places like London, for example. Oh, animation for real? And I thought of it like the perfect combination of like movement and line. And so, yeah, I formed myself in university in London, and I mainly do traditional animation, paper animation, 2D, drone, stop motion, cutout, collage, every kind of thing you can animate, I do. And indeed, for the film I bring here to Lago, I try to animate mountains and landscape. The film is called Verbinich. It's in German because I made it in Switzerland during a workshop that lasted a week, where I found myself surrounded by 20 complete strangers who all of them spoke just German. So I was there like, hey guys, and nobody really wanted to speak with me and just wanted to work. So I felt really all my social skills shattered. And I realized, okay, I have to make something really different during this time of my life, in this week that I have in the middle of the Alps. The closest town was 3 hours walking and had no contact with family or friends. Whew, hard time. And so what I bring here is something that doesn't really represent my work, which is more character-based and funny and quirky. It's quite thoughtful and reflective of a week that really I didn't feel like myself. Verbinich means who am I? And indeed, I had to really question it. And what am I doing? What's my career going? And all sorts of questions. And I'm really happy to bring to a festival something that is really different from what I usually do, because you really have to put yourself into question and to make something quite different from usual. Otherwise, you just sit there in your comforts. And it's really helpful to continue your career if you just want to do what you always do and be safe in your securities. But so yeah, I try to do something different, and you'll see it. It's not tonight, I think. It's going to be shown on Saturday. And so for now, I'm quite busy because I'm animating on a British Film Institute short film production, and then on a short Amnesty International production. But I am happy to hear if people have stories that would like to visualize differently than live action. I know animation is expensive and time-consuming, but it's a whole different world that you step in, and I loved it, and I never thought of any other career after I discovered it. And so yeah, I've heard some stories like during the pitch session, and I was always imagining them animated for some reason. I thought, oh, that would be great. But yeah, I do have some projects, like personal projects on my side, and that I never completed because of COVID. I didn't graduate with a film, sad times, because I was planning like a big stop motion film about something really important to me, a very personal, sad story. And it will be maybe produced at some point in my life. And now without university, it's a bit harder, but because I was planning to produce it there. But yeah, I'm happy to be here and seeing people for the first time after a long period in person. So very nice. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophia. It's now time for Giovanni Vanoli. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Giovanni, and I'm 28 years old, and I've been struggling with cinema industry for the past 10 years. This love of mine for the media arises from my father sharing his passion. Even though he had no connection with the industry, we were linked by the passion since no one else in the family shared artistic interest. I began writing in high school during classing instead of following and taking notes. Nonetheless, I was able to finish high school and went to Paris in order to study cinema at Aker Film and Television School. Here I followed 3 years bachelor program, and at the end of which I directed my first short. I've learned more from the mistake I made during the shooting than the 3 years of classes. Unfortunately, at the end of this program, I had to come back to Italy because my father died, therefore losing many of connection I've made. In Italy, I had made many experience working in the industry as a screenwriter, first AD, and managing extra in big production. But not counting my personal project, I found my calling in script doctoring, which I practice at FILMMAKERS, a script consulting company, and I kept doing it with Massimiliano Nardulli, one of the founders of Less is More, with whom I'm currently working on script labs around Italy and internationally. The last of which last month in collaboration with Trieste Film Festival. I also do it one-to-one, and my main collaboration has been with Samer Allah, ex-classmate from whom won Cannes last year with his short I'm Afraid to Forget Your Face. And we are currently working on his first feature. But the most relevant aspect of my life is that, for personal reasons, I've lived from 20 to 26 in almost complete isolation, as most of you did during the lockdown. This meant I had very few personal connections, which are essential in the cinema industry, as you all know. But like you probably discovered during this time, not having a social life frees a lot of time, which I dedicated entirely studying not only cinema, but stories in the broadest sense. I followed philosophy and psychology studies online in the most prestigious universities without ever enrolling. During these studies, I found special connection with Jung and his vision how stories are the instrument that we use to understand life and ourselves. But as I learned during my first short, theory is not enough. Therefore, I made Alienation, which is the short you will see tonight, hopefully. Alienation is the expression of personal emotion and experience reinterpreted by an analytical psychological lens. Unreal, but at the same time accurate and explanatory. Like a dream that once you are awake, you analyze and reveals unknown fears and desires. In this case, the fear of entrapment, of being the cause and consequence of one's own undoing, the fear of repeating the same mistakes in an infinite and vicious cycle, without finding a way out, and the desire to find the way out, to survive, to escape, to reach the end of the road and finally see the sunrise. The film tries to tell a universal and individual stories through the use of an archetypal structure of an interpretative freedom and revealing silence, using symbols as the woods, the unconscious, the street, the life, the darkness, the unknown, and the light, the known. In contrast to my first short, I'm proud of Alienation, which I think is an important step toward finding my voice. Voice which I think it's usually built more on personal flaws and limits that Alienation were mostly productive. As you will see, the short is in one situation, shot in one location with only one character and no dialogue. I will keep this formula for my next project, which is called The Burrow. It's inspired by Kafka short stories in which Kafka described to us a mole digging his burrow, but he never tells us it's a mole, and we suspect it's a human being. The short is gonna be all set in one apartment, only one character, no dialogue, and the intent is to explore the theme of isolation, social distancing, and the consequence that this can have on psychology of one individual. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. So Giovanni will be, of course, available for a one-to-one meeting. There are open not only to producer, but of course also to writers. And I think it might be a great opportunity to share ideas with filmmakers. And I don't know, think about that. Stefano Cau. Eccolo. Grazie.
What's up? Come va? Sono il penultimo, non vi teniamo ancora tanto. Faticoso, eh? Sono un filmmaker, mi interessano le cose curiose. Per esempio, mi chiedevo perché c'è un tronco d'albero appeso al soffitto, non sembra strutturale.
Stai parlando in italiano, però lo sai questo, vero?
Sto parlando in italiano?
Yeah.
Sì, lo so, me ne sono accorto.
You have a mask, so we can dub. We can dub later. Possiamo doppiarti dopo.
Sì? Se
No.
tolgo la maschera? Non ho capito.
Please. Continua, non preoccuparti.
Continuo? Ok. Metto un timer, 4 minuti. Come mi è stato chiesto.
Facciamo 3.
3, ok. Sono qui al lago con un film che si chiama Issa, che è il mio primo film. Io ho fatto 3 film. 4, ci riesco.
Va bene Stefano.
Va bene, vado avanti.
Prego.
Il mio primo film si chiama Issa, è un film in pellicola Super 8, che se volete vedrete stasera. Ho fatto 3 film nella mia vita. Il secondo si chiama Creaturas e racconta di 3 bambini che si perdono nelle campagne mentre giocano. E il terzo è un film di 1 ora che si chiama Badaboo ed è un documentario musicale sugli anziani. Uso questa formula documentario musicale perché da qualche tempo mi sto interessando ai film fatti con persone vere. Non sto scrivendo più, scrivo solo un canovaccio e poi lavoro con le persone, faccio un casting, le trovo, decido se mi interessano e lavoro con loro. Il mio prossimo film, quello su cui sto studiando, è un film sui turisti che mi divertono molto, li trovo molto comici perché si mettono sempre in mezzo a fare le foto, perché consumano le risorse e il posto dove vanno e sono dei consumatori 24 ore al giorno, come noi siamo consumatori per un tot di ore durante la nostra giornata, ma loro lo sono di più. Che altro? Ho preso degli appunti, magari posso dire. Certo. The most important things in my work is capture the thin layer between to be and to perform. I think all of us are every time in performer. For example, now I wear a shirt to be pretty and vedo che molti oggi hanno magari messo la camicia per essere un po' più belli, per parlare, e quindi quello è quello che interessa a me, la sottile confine tra fare le cose e performarle. E niente, se volete ne parliamo più tardi al bar. Grazie a voi.
Grazie mille Stefano. E last but not least, Giulia Cosentino. Here we go. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Giulia Cosentino. I'm from Sicily, Catania, but I live in Rome where I work. I studied cinema and audiovisual arts in many cities in Europe, attending different universities as Paris, Lisbon and Barcelona. And when I come back after these years of vagabonding and studying years, I started to work as assistant director in theater and cinema, and also to approach my passion, that is the archive materials. So I started to work as an archive researcher for many authors and also for the school in Palermo, Centro Sperimentale of Palermo di Cinematografia, Palermo. Also now I work as assistant director and an archive researcher. Some years ago, 3 years ago, I realized my first movie, my short movie that is here this year, Lui e io, attending the artistic residence reframing of movies. In this movie, I used just family images that I found in Cineteca Sarda, and I focused my topic, the topic of my research that I'm continuing in these years. That is to find working with the memory and about the decentralization to be theme of today of this memory, finding different point of view of the memory that we found in these materials, and and rewriting the stories, possibility stories of these materials. In this moment, I'm working on a project with my colleague Perla Sardella that is about the female and feminist desire in family archive. And thank you for this time and this space, because it's very difficult to have this kind of space when it's a precarious worker like us. So thank you to everyone for this time.
Thank you. Thank you too.